Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is gratuitous tank battles. Well, there are tanks, and they are battling. It is somewhat gratuitous, although that is not the only thing that is battling. So, if you were just looking for purely tank battles, then you may be disappointed. One way or the other, this is a game by Positech, which is the one-man company of Cliff. Yes, indeed, Cliff Harris. Now, Cliff Harris has created many a game, including gratuitous space battles, which I have mentioned from time to time on this particular channel. The thing about gratuitous tank battles is it's more of a game than gratuitous space battles was. In gratuitous space battles, you designed your fleet, you designed the ships, and then you set them to work on the other guys, and that's about it. You didn't control it, you set up the formations and the composition, and then they battled each other. This time around, he's taken what he's learned from that game and applied it to some kind of tower defense game. Now, the question is, however, as it always is it any good? Alright, well, we shall be finding out today, that I can guarantee. First things first, let's have a look at the gratuitous options menu. He always does a pretty good job with his options menus, honestly. He has pretty much whatever you could possibly desire here, as you can see, so that is not something that you really have to worry about. Now, what makes it different from a tower defense game? Well, I'll just show you. It's easier that way. So, this is the campaign. You also have custom maps which you can design with a tile system, as well as an online system which allows you to battle in maps and against armies created by other players. This has something of a story, but it doesn't really matter all that much. It's kind of like if World War I had just continued on ad infinitum, then this is what would have probably happened. And the kind of trench warfare and crazy nonsense that's going on in this is the reason why this game actually works the way that it does. It's why it is a tower defense game. You can also attack, however. That's a fairly major thing, honestly, and it's not something that most tower defenses do. There are games like, say, Anomaly Warzone Earth, which did exclusively this, but most TDs don't allow you to do both in that particular fashion. Now, something like Tower Wars or Wintermore would allow you to build towers and attack, but in this case, attacking doesn't allow you to build towers at all. You take on the role of the attacker, and that is it. That is the only role that you take on if you happen to pick that option. Defending is what you would expect. So we'll start with defense because that is a little easier for folks to understand. Now, what you then have in your defense options is a predefined script of enemy units. You can then play against adaptive AI, which selects units included in that map, and then an adaptive AI that can select from units that you have made. Now, this is deliberate because the design aspect is absolutely huge in a game like this. But we'll be showing you that after we've looked at the tower defense one. So we're going to go with scripted for the moment, and that is the army list that he's got. So we have to figure out a way of defeating that. The main problem is, and this is probably one of the biggest issues that I have with the game thus far, is that it just doesn't bother to tell you what you're going to be going up against in any way. So when you deploy all of your stuff, you're doing it blind, and then the game runs in real time and runs bloody quickly. So it takes a little bit to adapt to what's going on. Thankfully, you can slow things down, and quite frankly, I would recommend it. Until you get really, really confident with this game, you really want to slow it down and figure out what on earth is going on. In this case, I am using these very much predefined units. We'll design a few later on, and you can go to the division manager and create new divisions based on units that you currently have designed, and then switch between those divisions at will by using this. So you can have a lot of different turrets and infantry units available at your disposal. So let's start deploying. Now, if I were to deploy infantry, then that's going to go in a bunker right there. And these infantry units, as you can see, they are individual dudes. They are right down there in the bunker. That is the only place they can go. And just toss some laser in there as well and some more machine guns. Now, there are 4 areas that the enemy can get through. This path exit, you can see there's the key down to the bottom. So I've got to be thinking about all of these. Now, the AI will dynamically adapt to what it feels like it thinks it needs. So if it sees too many defenses on one side, it's gonna start sending different units around to this side. Also, if you overload on one kind of turret, the AI will once again adapt to what you're about to do, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it makes things really interesting. It's a curse because you don't know what's coming at you. So it's very, very difficult to figure that out. In this case, I'm on a predefined script, so it should send the same stuff over and over again. If I recall correctly, it's going to send a bunch of light mechs at me initially. So light mechs have shields. I want to deploy a flat cannon here, and maybe a smart laser there as well. And we could put a heavy cannon, which should be able to hit all of this. Now, if they're shielded mechs, then I'll probably need a few of those in there, and then if I recall correctly after that we have infantry coming in, so some light laser cannons down here would be quite nice, and then I could put an MG74 in that position. Alright, so let's rock and roll, shall we, and see how it goes. Okay, now the units are going to constantly spawn. They really don't come in waves, or they do, but the waves don't last very long at all. As you can see, it's already got like 3. We'll just pause there for a second. It's already got 3 waves of different enemies coming at me. Nobelwerfer Panzer, which is firing rockets at my 88mm cannon, doing significant damage here. It looks like we've taken down the shields of the mech, so I'm hoping the infantry should be able to destroy them as we go through. And these laser infantry are able to do damage to that. Now, they do fire back, and stuff will die frequently. So that is something to always bear in mind. We go back to about 0.6 speed. That's something I can keep up with. Okay, these are the amount of supplies that I've got. They will continually regenerate throughout there. Is there anywhere that I could place a flame tower that might be useful? Maybe down there if they spawn more infantry coming in this direction. This mech has actually made its way through entirely, so I'm going to put a smart laser there, and we might go with another 88mm in this particular position. Now, as you can clearly see, things get a little bit crazy. Each individual troop actually fires, and each individual troop can be killed. So that is the gratuitous part, and that was the way with gratuitous space battles as well, and I definitely approve of that. It's hard, really, to complain about that, and even then, we've actually leaked that mech already. And this is where it just gets nuts. It's like, oh god, how am I supposed to deal with all this stuff? And it's really, really hard. It's very difficult indeed to actually handle all of this coming at you at any given time. It just takes a huge amount of concentration, and I would say frequent slowdowns and pauses, just so that you can figure out, well, how am I supposed to stop all of this? Now, you can leak stuff as long as they don't get to the victory point total, but I've got to deal with these Kaiser heavy assault mechs. I lost my 88mm cannon in the center there. I think we might have to get some of that back. We've got plenty of dead infantrymen in that particular area. Things are crazy, man. They're absolutely insane. They were not kidding. I say they. Chris was not kidding when he said gratuitous tank battles. Gratuitous indeed. Very much so. Alright, I've got infantry to deal with over there, so I'm thinking maybe if we can get down to the Flammenwerfer or whatever the hell they are, then we should be able to do a reasonable amount of that. Okay, damage is already being done there. The shields on this mech are not down, and wow, that light laser cannon, I think, is about to get absolutely trashed at the moment as well. Infantry have been eliminated over there, but we've leaked more infantry through here. Can you please finish them off? There we go. Okay, they're finished off. Excellent, excellent. What else have we got coming in this direction? Armored units. Veteran laser infantry. Let's replace them there. Let's put some more veteran laser infantry in there as well. Check all 4 lanes. This is only the 3rd level. What the hell is going on, quite frankly? Oh my, oh my. Heavy assault mech taking more damage, but it's still standing. Get those damn shields down, he screams at them. Drop down another set of laser infantry. What are we leaking up to the top right there, if anything? Okay, things seem to be stable over in that direction. That mech is still not going down. Shields are... That's good against armor. We need something that's good against shields. Let's get the flat cannon up. There we go. The shield has been penetrated, so we might be okay to deal with that. Okay, we're not stuck up on infantry. We've lost units over in this direction. Let's get a light cannon up. Let's get another 88. And we could do with a couple more smart lasers. Maybe another flame turret over in this direction. Okay, we're holding fairly well, but still 1,000 out of 4,000 victory points. Now, if I want, I can also focus fire. I can select a unit and tell it to actually fire in that general direction, so I can prioritize it. I can even have a look at its stats if I so desire. Not that it's a very good idea, I don't think. I'm a little bit busy trying to deal with all of this nonsense that's going in this direction. That's more units leaked. This mech is still not dead. Why? Nobody knows. Maybe another 88mm cannon over at this side might actually be helpful. What's our infantry looking like? Not exactly great. Light laser cannons over in this direction. The mech got through, and it looks like we're probably going to lose. I don't think I'll be able to take down all of these mechs quick enough. Shields are still up on those mechs over there, and oh my, oh my, oh my, everything's going horribly, horribly wrong. And this is at 0.6 speed, by the way. Consider that it's almost twice as fast by default, and then consider the other crazy nonsense that you're having to deal with. Good lord. Another flat cannon up, another smart laser, an 88. At this point, I'm just kind of spamming buildings, hoping that it will be enough to stop everything. But this ambulance will not die! 200 victory points if that ambulance actually gets through as well, which would be rather unpleasant indeed. Yeah, let's just throw 4 heavy assault mechs in my general direction. That won't be a problem, right? Yes, evidently it will. Flat cannon's gotten through the shield, significant damage being done. As you can see, the top-down art is really quite nice, just like it was in the original. There's the defeat, and oh my god, I have a headache. There's a bunch of stats, average per units and things like that, and, well, that was a little crazy. However, as you do battle, win or defeat, you do unlock more stuff, and there is plenty to unlock. I can also edit the scenario if I wish. I can completely change anything about it, which is pretty impressive. My brain is melting. Alright, let's have a look at unit design, shall we? Because I mentioned earlier that unit design was key to the Gratuitous games, and Gratuitous Space Battles was nothing but unit design. You had to design ships that would complement each other nicely and would deal with the force that they were going up against, and that was quite satisfying. Here, though, you're mixing up that same level of unit design with a larger number of both mobile and stationary units, much more tech, and the fact that the AI can adapt to you as you go. Is this 2012 or 2112? It's a little crazy to even think about it. A tower defense that actually dynamically adapts to you is not something that you find all that often. Let's design a unit, shall we? Alright. Okay. So we can customize the appearance of it. If I wish to have a giant pink turret, then I can. I can even vary things up on a cosmetic level, which is kind of crazy. Let us do some design, though, shall we? I can load all sorts of different things in here. These are kind of the default mechs and such that are available. So if I wanted to design a heavy mech, because I just got heavy mech 3, let's do a quick comparison between the two. Heavy mech 3 costs significantly more. It weighs less, though. Okay. So these are the loadouts and hard points that I can use. Targeting, weapons, propulsion, and 2 defense systems are available, 2 augmentations, and a loader system. That's pretty damn complicated, isn't it? So let's see, can I just make the ultimate thing? Well, for one thing, I guess we want shields. Currently I only have level 3 turbo shields available, so let's actually add that on there. And level... that's 6, isn't it? Level 6 neutronium armor. Alright, so what do I want this mech to actually do? Rapid assault laser, most likely, let's see, what is effective? Very effective against armor, not so great against infantry, so I want this to be a buster, I suppose, so that's going to be its main weapon, this rapid assault laser. Alright, let's look at other upgrades, so I might as well just plonk everything on there and just give it the best thing available. Computerized targeting is currently the best that I have unlocked. A very high-level drive system, can I actually fit that on there? Yes, I can. Doesn't seem to be having too many problems there. Look at the cost of it. This thing's actually going crazy at the moment. Weight reduces speed, as you can see. So, by default, this would be a faster unit. At least you'd think it would be. If I was to actually take that off there, that's the default speed. That's what you get on that. And then you could start doing comparisons between the two. What else? Loader. Manual loading system. Rapid auto loader. Effect increases my firing speed by 125%. But once again, is costing me more. It doesn't really weigh more, so I'll just make the most expensive mech ever. And surely that's the way to win, right? And you'll find that actually, no, it isn't. No, it really isn't. You need to create a wide variety of different units, because for obvious reasons, if all I'm doing is spamming heavy units, and the AI is going to adapt to that, and I'm not going to be able to send large numbers of waves at my opponent, which is kind of crazy. Alright, augmentations. What do I want it to do? Bonus against materials. Bonus against internal. Speed bonus. I want this to be a faster mech, perhaps. So if I were to add the speed bonus on there, I can. And then maybe we'll just go for a raw damage enhancer. This thing still costs 742 supplies to buy a single unit. Now I'm going to save this design as Big Stompy Mech. There we go. So we're now going to go and try Big Stompy Mech. I might want to actually rename this Big Stompy Mech. There we go. And that's pretty much the heaviest thing that I could possibly create in this scenario. So let's go on the attack using Big Stompy Mech and see how it fares. Okay, so we're going to attack on this map, and I'm going to allow the defending AI to make use of any units that exist, including my own designs. So what do I attack with? That is Big Stompy Mech, as you can see. So Big Stompy Mech consists of lots of guns. It is the most expensive thing I currently have, as you can see. It's 742 supply. So I can deploy one Big Stompy Mech initially, and then I'm completely out of supplies. So it sounds good in theory. In theory, it sounds great. But also bear in mind, it's not actually worth a lot of victory points, surprisingly enough. There are other things which are worth significantly more. You get a supply truck through there, which is unarmed. That's 1,500 victory points. So that is something to bear in mind. Alright, let's see how Big Stompy Mech fares. Onward, Big Stompy Mech versus the AI and everything it's got. So it deploys lots and lots of 88mm cannons. These shields look like they're already gone down on Big Stompy Mech. So that is a little depressing to say the least. And I have a feeling it's probably not even going to make its way through there. Ooh, supply drops. Okay, so if I actually get there, then I'm rewarded with supplies. Interesting. I just want to watch this thing die. Just for the moment. Because it will. And you can see the AI has clearly adapted to the use of Big Stompy Mech. But can it adapt, one might ask, to 4 Big Stompy Mechs? Let us find out. So, it's going to build units that are, hopefully, at least that's what it hopes anyway, designed against that. However, at that point, maybe they've got a lot of cannons up, so maybe I want to get some tanks that are armored against cannons. These elephant-heavy tanks are particularly well protected in that regard. Unfortunately, Big Stompy Mechs are getting absolutely murdered. As you can see, the AI is clearly designing itself very, very well indeed. And after all of this, I still need to bear in mind that I need to be deploying more and more and more. Now, thankfully, there's actually no defenses down here, so I could maybe rush them. Let's deploy Nat Recon Mechs. Off you go. Oh, look, there's actually no defenses there because they're distracted. So, let's see if that helps. And a couple of support mechs down in the process. Deploy more Big Stompy Mechs. My supply count is raising fairly rapidly. Deploy Big Stompy Mechs behind that as well. And, ooh, looks like we have a supply truck. And might be able to run a few supply trucks over in that direction. There we go. So, as you can see, I have designed a unit which I was hoping would be able to break its way through these defenses. Unfortunately, it seems like it actually can't. So, in that situation, I'd want to go back to the drawing board, figure out what the hell went wrong, and then actually work from that position. Would I not? The answer, of course, would be yes. Yes, I would. Got a couple of flame tanks out there because they have a number of infantry-based defenses that we should be able to eliminate quite nicely. More infantry units on the ground here. There we go. Maybe some Jaguar assault mechs up there. The problem I think I've got at the moment is that I feel like I'm spamming units, and maybe it's just because I don't know what I'm doing. I think that if you know more about the game, then you probably won't run into these issues. You'll know exactly what's going on and how to best deal with it, and if these supply trucks make their way through here, then these guys are absolutely boned. Because I'll gain a huge amount of victory points in a very, very short time indeed. They've deployed cannons to try and make sure that doesn't work. Shields on the Jaguar assault mech are holding at the moment. That is, once again, a lot of cannons. The elephant-heavy tanks seem to have done a pretty good job of dealing with it. Plus, of course, infantry on the ground would do a great job against cannons. And through goes another mech. We got 2 supply trucks through by the looks of it. So things are going fairly well. Oh, they're deploying flamethrower turrets. Alright, that's fine. Let's get some heavier tanks up to try and deal with that. Needless to say, the AI is going to be selling stuff and buying stuff at the same kind of time. So this is one of the most hectic tower defense games that I've ever seen. You have to react incredibly fast to what's going on, but it also has this really neat design element and absolutely fantastic AI. So I think PC Gamer probably best described it as an arms race against yourself, and that's exactly what it is. You design a new unit, and then you allow the AI to adapt. It's also going to use your new unit, so you have to think of a counter to your own unit, which is pretty crazy. I suppose on the bad side, it does feel pretty spammy. It very much is a case of, oh, throw a bunch of units at the enemy. There's a lot less thought, I think, in the actual battle phase than there would be in a traditional tower defense. You're not having to react in the same kind of way. You don't get preparation time. You've got to be very, very quick on your feet, and more often than not, that encourages you to make just quick decisions rather than planning things out specifically. Obviously, there's no mazing or anything like that. You can only place units in limited locations. But still, I think there's a lot of appeal for a more hectic tower defense style, and it very much seems like this game does provide that in spades. And if you happen to be a tinkerer, if you like to design units and min and max and optimize, then it's really hard to recommend any other tower defense that actually does that better. In most traditional TDs, you are optimizing your positioning, you're optimizing your maze and things like that. Here, you're optimizing the towers that you actually build and create yourself, as well as the units that you build and create yourself if you happen to be on the attack mode. So this is interesting. This is unique. There aren't all that many tower defense games that even attempt this, much less pull it off to a reasonable degree. And it seems like Cliff Harris may very well have done that. I think at the start, the game is extremely daunting. It is beyond daunting. It's absurdly daunting. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The tutorials do a pretty good job in this game, and they allow you to learn from your mistakes, at least for the most part. I would like maybe this stat screen to be, well, I was going to say maybe be a little bit more detailed, but it seems like it is, and you can also save a recording of it. You can even upload it as a challenge. What that means is I can upload the army and the composition and the way that I attacked as a challenge, and people online can try and beat it, which is pretty crazy. And also, once again, you get a bunch of unlocks, and then if I want a heavy pulse laser or shield manipulation, I can unlock that, and you get options as you go through the game. So this is a bunch of tower defense content at a relatively low price. We're talking about a $20 game here, or your regional equivalent. The prices are on the screen right now, and you might say, oh, whoa, why is it more expensive in these countries? Well, that actually matches up with the tax rate. I mean, it's 20% more expensive in the UK. Yeah, but it's 20% VAT. Just bear that in mind. So, in reality, it is about the same price across the board if you take tax into account. And if you don't like tax, then I'd suggest you complain to the people that happen to be running your country. One way or the other, Cliff has managed to create a very unique and interesting game, as he always does. It stumbles a little bit along the way. It is really daunting from the start, and I think that the overall strategic value of the actual battle is less than you would find in other tower defense games. It's less refined because it's more hectic, and it focuses more on the unit design. Now, if you're not into designing the units, then I can't recommend this game to you, because that is what this game is all about. It's about tinkering, it's about upgrading, it's about creating a set of units that are good for a specific task, and going back into the design and figuring out all sorts of crazy stuff, which is exactly what Gratuitous Space Battles was. The thing is, this actually has a game component, which Gratuitous Space Battles really doesn't, because it was really just a very nice light show, and I was okay with that. I played a lot of Gratuitous Space Battles. I enjoyed that greatly, but I think he's evolved the concept in a very interesting direction here, and it may very well be worthy of your attention. This game is available in many places, including on Steam, as well as Gamersgate. I think it's on Desura as well, and I would recommend having a look at it if this kind of unit design-based game interests you. It is definitely a unique spin on a very tired genre, and it is worthy of your attention. My name is TotalBiscuit, taking a look at Gratuitous Tank Battles by Positech Games, Cliff Harris. I'll see you next time.